All right. Good evening again. Uh, Thank you for taking your time out of your evening to join us on our Upton Drive Neighborhood Greenway project public meeting tonight. My name is Angel Chang. I am the project manager from MCDOT, Division of Transportation Engineering. And tonight we'll talk about the Upton Drive Neighborhood Greenway and share a little bit of the concept with the community. Some housekeeping items. This presentation will be recorded and will be later posted on the project website. So feel free to revisit as needed. And we'll also post the presentation slides on the website along with other displays by tomorrow. So feel free to check it out. And I will share the project website URL at the end of the meeting. Again, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's meeting. So a quick outline of what we're going to talk about tonight. We'll go through the project overview for the Upton Drive Neighborhood Greenway project. We'll talk a little bit about the design considerations that went into the concept design that we have put together. We'll also talk about the community survey results that was conducted earlier this year. And we'll finally go through the concept design. And then we'll talk about the next step and what it means and what comes next. And then at the end of the meeting, we'll have a Q&A session. So save your questions until the end of the presentation, and we'll answer all of your questions that you have in mind. So project overview. We are proposing a neighborhood greenway on Upton Drive. The project limit is from East Avenue to the entrance of the Crossway Montessori School. This map shows our project location. The yellow line indicates where the project limit is currently, and the corridor that we're studying. This is University Boulevard, and this is Beers Mill Road, and this is East Avenue. Next slide. Okay, so a little bit about the current project milestone schedule. So the project was kicked off earlier this year in September 2022. And we're currently right here in November 2022 at the first public meeting. We will be collecting comments from the community on this project through December 2022. After that, we'll brief the planning board, county planning board on this project, and we'll share the final design plan in spring 2023. At that time, we'll have another public meeting during that time. And we hope to have construction begins in late summer of 2023. And I apologize if you can hear my dog barking in the background. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what is a neighborhood greenway. A neighborhood greenway is a street designed to give walking and biking priority and to reduce vehicle speed and volume. We use these tools to create a neighborhood greenway, such as signs, pavement markings, speed countermeasures, and volume management measure to discourage cut-through trips by vehicle and to create safe, convenient crossing of arterial streets for bicyclists and pedestrians. So some of the traffic calming strategies that we've looked at are horizontal deflections, including splitters, where a vehicle will go around this splitter island to kind of split the traffic into two. Something called chicane, which will have the vehicles meander through a street. And a mini roundabout where, all the vehicles have to go around in a circle in order to meander through the intersection. We also looked at other the narrowing strategy when it comes to traffic calming. So an example would be a choker, which narrowing down the street with some physical barrier. And in this example is using planting area to create those choker. Another example of narrowing is using bump out or curb extension, where we shortening the crossing distance at the crosswalk, and bringing visibility to pedestrian at the intersection. So some of the design considerations that we have looked at for this project includes provide a safe crossing and pedestrians and cyclists on Upton Drive. Looking at connectivity to existing sidewalk and nearby destinations, minimize impacts, including residential frontage, environmental resources such as trees and any other streams in the area, as well as utilities that is existing with on this road. Some other consideration including maintaining the existing neighborhood aesthetic, as well as considering the existing bus or school bus stop locations. Now we have done a traffic speed and volume analysis as part of this project back in early June. We have collected data on both Upton Drive and Hillsdale Drive. Both Upton Drive and Hillsdale Drive has a posted speed of 25 miles per hour. And on Upton Drive, we have recorded an eastbound 85th percentile speed of 29 miles per hour and a westbound 85th percentile speed of 28 miles per hour. And on Hillsdale Drive, we have a northbound and southbound 85th percentile at both 19 miles per hour. So based on the data we collected, we proposed a number of strategies to reduce the speed on Upton Drive, specifically based on according to this data. So now I'll pass it over to my colleague, Cameron McAllister, who will be talking a little bit more about the community survey results that we have done, that we have shared with the community earlier this month. So right. Cameron, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cameron. I'm a planning specialist here at MCDOT. So getting into the community survey results, there were about 18 to 20 respondents, residents that responded to the results. Of those residents, 56% did not live on Upton Drive directly, and 44% did. Let me go to the next slide. All right, so out of the respondents, how often they were biking or walking or using the pedestrian facilities that do currently exist on Upton Drive, 50% of them said about every day, so it's still getting pretty good usage. When asked if there were improvements on Upton Drive for biking and pedestrians, there was a 61% results of residents saying that they would use it more. And on ask from scales from 1 to 5, who was in support of improvements for biking and pedestrians, the average answer was 4.33. Next one. All right, so the main places that the respondents were biking and walking to, the main one was exercise. Behind that is accessing transit, shopping. There does say that there were 0 respondents in school, but as you can see, it's going to be, when we get to the comment section, it's more of the demographics of who actually responded to the survey, because it may not have been any school-aged kids, because we didn't ask the age of the respondents. To the next one. All right, so the respondents were pretty much in favor of improvements all over the for the pedestrian and the biking walkway on Upton Drive. The sidewalks on both sides was the only one that, I mean, it wasn't that was a concern just for the yard space and everything of that nature. And the comments that stuck out for the community survey results are that cars come out of the high school way too fast. There was a kid that almost was hit by a car, so speeding, lower speed limit and traffic calming is essential. Currently, The high school students do walk in the middle of the road, even though there are sidewalks on the road. And the stop sign at Upton Drive and East Avenue is not effective because it's usually blocked by trees and it's not perfectly aligned with the McDonald's exit. All right, next one. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to Mohammed, who is the design engineer on this project.
Thank you, Cameron. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. My name is Moyessar Mohammed. I'm the civil engineering manager at Shalari Associates, and we are the designer of record for this project. And as you can see, this is kind of the concept design that we developed with the county. And this is just an overview that kind of shows you the entire kind of limit of work in kind of overall view. You see on your right hand side, you see East Avenue, and it's coming up to the Montessori School. So at East Avenue and Upton Drive, we kind of use the Green Highway Design Manual for Montgomery County of using crosswalks and also bump out the curb at the southeast of Upton Drive with East Avenue. And also with Hillside, we also did a bump out for the 3 sides from 2 corners of the south and the northern part. And also we did a crosswalk on this location. Also in the middle between East Avenue and Hillside, we had a splitter, kind of lane divider. It's kind of going to reduce the speed limit. And the optimal goal here is to kind of reduce the speed and improve safety. That's the number one goal for us. And we definitely can achieve it by using this kind of magnitude or level of devices we put in here. We also add another splitter between East Upton Hillside all the way west to the school. We had a splitter, and we also implemented a share lane between the driver and the bikers. So the drivers, when they kind of see this imprinted in a imprinted share lanes, they definitely will slow down, because that's kind of what tell them like this is not only drivers, it's both driver and biker. And also we was able to kind of add more designate the parking spot in houses number 11205 to the north part of Upton Drive up to house number 11211. This all will be kind of designated free parking or street parking, permit parking, sorry. And for the between Hillside to the school, it's the opposite to the southern part of the houses from 302 up to 306. We can implement or kind of designate a parking spot. Next slide, please. Here's show you the cross section. That's kind of how the road will look like. At the top, you see this is kind of the lane. We can it varies because the road varies from 17 feet to 22 feet. And there's a parking of, we kind of was able to find 8 feet for designated parking spot. And there's the buffer, and then you have a curb, grass buffer and existing sidewalk, 6 feet sidewalk. And the southern part, that's where the splitter sits in between. So the difference is you see that the splitter would cause some sort of like narrowing down the path. So for driver, they would have to slow down to make that nice curve or nice motion in between the splitters. And that's happening in 4 locations. We're gonna put 4 of them, and they kind of similar to what Angel showed you earlier in slide 4 or 5. So we're gonna have a nice landscape, and it looks very nice in the middle. Next slide, please. This is kind of more focused into Hillside, East Avenue, and Upton Drive. As you can see, this is the kind of the splitter sits here to the left, and with the signs. And we also can establish a center line with the yellow 2 double lane here up to the intersection or T section. We also going to add an ADA ramps for people with disabilities, so they can easily kind of cross, or a stroller, everybody pushing a stroller, so can easily cross from that northern side of Upton down to the corner. That's we're going to bump out all that green you see. It's going to be a bump out, and then you can cross going like to McDonald's and then to the mall. So that makes it safe. And also we kind of keep the stop sign and make sure it's kind of visible. And if there's any tree on the way, we'll maybe optimize the location of the stop sign, but definitely we promoting the stop sign to stay for safety purpose. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is kind of here more work here in Hillside and Upton Drive. So you see here we have like triple bump out, just not only one from this corner exactly here, and the second one, and also a massive one from the other side. We're gonna have like six 88 down ramps for 2 in each side, and also a crosswalk with also gonna imprint the bikers driver in both lanes, and also we're gonna have the splitters and also the yellow line in the middle to the center line. These devices would, and the stop sign, of course, we're gonna also make sure that stop sign is clear, and any trees on the way, we have to just cut that branches or move the stop sign to be visible for a driver from a side distance. All these measures would definitely improve the safety and kind of reduce any accidents from happening. I think next slide. Back to you, Angela. That's pretty much the design. Thank you.
Thank you, Moyasar. I'm going to talk a little bit about next steps from here on. So we are collecting input from the community on the current design through December 4th, 2022. And after that, we'll brief the planning board on the finding of our study so far, as well as the community input on this project. And from there, we'll take all the input and put it into our final design plan, hopefully, around the time frame of spring of 2023. Once we have finalized this design plan, we'll come out and have another meeting with the community. And the time frame for that is about late spring of 2023. And hopefully, the anticipated construction start will be late summer 2023, and where we can implement all the traffic calming strategy that we have shared tonight, and anything else that we will revise based on the input and our finalized design plan. So at this point, here's my contact information. Again, my name is Angel Chang. I'm the project manager for this project. Here's my phone number and my email address. And I have, this is the project website that I mentioned earlier. But at this time, I would like to open up the floor for any questions or comments from the attendees. If you would like to make a comment or have any kind of question, please raise your hand, and we will we'll unmute you so that you can speak. So if anyone would like to speak, please use the raise hand function. Okay. So we have Mr. Pierre Romain Cure.
Yes, can you hear me? Is
Yes.
it working?
It's working.
Okay, so what about this kind of wooded area at the bottom part of Upton? What's going to happen to it? It's a bit unkempt. It has a lot of brush, and you know, it's used as a dumping ground actually by McDonald's leftover.
Mm-hmm.
And we would like to know if you intend to also add trash cans, because today since I've lived here, I've never seen it like today, the amount of McDonald's debris that there was, empty package, cups. I mean, I've never seen it that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Today was worse than ever. So is there anything that will be done to take advantage of that green area, and also to do anything about waste control?
Mm-hmm. I think that we don't typically put trash receptacle on just any public road besides a bus stop. But we have Dan Sheridan, who is the design section chief from NCDOT, who might be able to answer that question.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Sheridan. I work, I don't know if you guys can see me, but I work directly with Angel Chang in the Division of Transportation Engineering. And I'll talk to Angel about the exact area you're talking about within, and then we can talk to our Division of Highway Services to see if they have the ability to go out and clean up the trash right now as it is. And we can also think about you know, whether we can put a trash can in. Typically, like Angel said, we do not, because we don't have the budget to maintain that. But if it's a special condition, that perhaps something we can talk over with our highway services. So it's something we can consider. Thank you for the comment.
Thank you.
But can you still hear me? Sorry, you didn't say anything also about the green area. There's this big lawn, which is county property, with this brush behind it. Is that going to stay the same, or is it going to improve?
Let me back up a little bit.
Do you know where he's talking about?
Yeah, you just passed it. Go to the previous slide you just showed.
Is it around? Not this one.
Yeah,
This one.
you see on the top left of the slide of the photo that here.
Gotcha. We're not proposing changing anything over here, but we can certainly plant more trees or trim the existing bushes if that's in the way of the people who is walking there.
Yeah, that could potentially be a nice green area.
Mm-hmm.
And just
so I guess one thing I would we'll have to figure out who owns that. Is it part of the old school, or you know, who's the owner? You know, again, when we do things, we have to have a maintenance plan. So if it's trees along the sidewalk, then that could be part of our standard Department of Transportation budget we maintain street trees. But if it's off of that property and it's another owner or different county agency, we'd have to coordinate with them. Another good suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing also here. There is a right of way established just in wherever that end. Yeah, not here, not to the right, where the green. Yep, yeah, that's a right of way. So that's a county land. But once it's gonna get further west, it has to be investigated. Yeah, to just to give heads up.
All right. Thank you both. We have a couple questions from the Q&A. So from Sean, great to see this family of 4 with 2 Rockview Elementary School kids watching from College View just up the hill. So first question is, are similar measure planned for neighboring street, for example, East and Kensington, connecting to the right of way behind the dentist? So yes, I think based on the county bicycle master plan, there is a neighborhood greenway that is planned on Kensington Boulevard. Just, I guess, hold on, let me show you. Kensington Boulevard over here and East. So we know that there's also currently a development that is happening here, and we are coordinating with the planning department as well as the developers to make sure that we're providing adequate pedestrian and bicycle safety improvement along East Avenue. So Kensington Boulevard, it would be one of the next projects that we will work on. So, and then question number 2, any improvements planned for the pedestrian connection to Kensington or improving accessibility for the stairway to College View? Yes, so we're aware of the stairways over there. It is not part of this project, but we can definitely look at it again. So thank you, Sean, for the comment, and we'll take a look at it and see if there's something that we can include in this project. And then I see a raised hand, Ms. Eleanor Duckett. I have to mute you.
Now can
Hi.
you? Hi, I live on Midvale Road, and I'm the acting chair of the Land Use and Zoning Committee. Now, one thing, when you go back to this concept there now, all of these houses are limited on their access. Midvale Road, you can only make a right-hand turn. So anybody that wants to go up to Wheaton has to go to the light. Midvale's a dead-end road, Upton's dead end, Kensington Boulevard, and East Avenue. Now, the first thing I want to say is that when you had the complaint in the beginning, about you can't see the stop sign. That's the stop sign on East Avenue.
Mhm.
The actual bike route goes University, down East, and right down Upton Drive. So we just went through this whole parking planning with the 800 apartments that are coming up on East Avenue, that there'll be a building up there. And we were worried that if they removed that stop sign, that we would not have any way of getting out, because if you have 800 apartments, people trying to get out in the morning, we can't make a left. You know, we have no signal. Right now, we can go straight across to the mall, we can make a left. So that whole intersection, you have to coordinate with park and planning and the Wheaton Gateway project. They also have sidewalks, a crosswalk that will be further down, not past the McDonald's exit, further down. So this really needs to be coordinated with the Wheaton Gateway project. Also, I'd like to point out, you're not putting stop signs on Upton at Hillsdale. You're just leaving the one stop sign that's currently there.
That's correct.
Is that right? And that land that Pierre was talking about, that's owned by Montgomery County Schools. Years ago, Renew Montgomery came in. It's like 2002. They wanted to put a bike route down the bottom at the end of the parking lot of Crossways. Half that property, the property on the left, is owned by Montgomery County. The other side of the creek is owned by Montgomery County Schools. And all of the property up here from Kensington Boulevard is owned by Montgomery County Schools or the Park Service. Most of the land behind Crossways is owned by the Park Service. Just to clarify what you're dealing with. I think that was a major thing I had, that whole intersection at East and Upton, and clarify that the stop sign that they're talking about is a stop sign on East Avenue. It's blocked by trees. And you need a stop sign at the exit of McDonald's. There isn't one.
Thank you for your
I'll write all this down.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for your comment. And I have taken note on those things. So definitely we'll coordinate with the developer of the Wheaton Gateway, but also park and planning to make sure that whatever they're proposing will not be exacerbating the situation here in Upton. To make sure that provide enough clearance for residents from this side of the neighborhood to be able to get out from their neighborhood.
I had one other question. When you showed what the streets would look like, the cars, does that mean that people on the bottom half of between Hillsdale and Crossways, are they going to lose on-street parking? Because some of those people don't have any parking.
Are you talking about this side?
Yeah, but further down between Hillsdale Drive and Crossways.
Oh, no. So if I may just show you a little, hold on. I think I can zoom in on here. Can you see a little better? Apologize that this is not very clear. So no, they're not losing any parking. So what we're proposing is basically putting pavement marking down of where the parking's supposed to be. And I think that will help with cars not feeling like driving down Upton with where drivers are not feeling like they have all the pavement width where they can just speed through it. Once we have put the pavement marking down and outlining where the cars should be, instead of just no lines right now as it is right now. So yes, the parking will remain.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, and then we have another hands up from Jessica Lubeski.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I have a few questions. First of all, thank you, Eleanor, for raising some of the ones I was thinking about as well. especially as it relates to the Gateway project, and kind of thinking through, does it make sense to make these improvements before the Gateway project has been built, so that, or in coordination with the project, so that it's responsive to those large buildings that are about to join our neighborhood, and ensuring, especially at that intersection at Upton and East, that they too are looking at that. So thank you for raising that, Eleanor. Okay, in no particular order. One, I'm interested in, especially at the Hillsdale and Upton intersection, if like how those the work that you're talking about impacts drainage. That field to the right of the sidewalk, but where Kensington Boulevard ends and Hillsdale starts, that little field is like a giant drainage location. And our neighborhood has a very high water table. We all have 2 sump pumps in our house. So if you mess with the drainage, we all have real wet basements, and it's real important that we have spaces for water to drain. I'm just going to run through questions. You can take them in any order if you like. 2 is, I'm not totally, I appreciate the crosswalks and all of these things, but I'm not totally clear on how this solves the students walking in the middle of the street, or anyone for that matter, walking in the middle of the street issue, which is a serious issue on this street. Einstein High School is an open campus. McDonald's is at the top of our street, and Einstein is at the end of our street. It's a pretty clear reason why we have a lot of people walking on our street all the time. And those folks, I guarantee, are not listed in your survey. So I'd love to hear more about what you're going to do to encourage folks to actually use these systems that you're putting in place. And then there was a public meeting involving our general neighborhood area recently about the Veers Mill Randolph Randolph Road Veers Mill traffic calming situation, where they're putting in all sorts of crosswalks and things, and a bike lane there. So how does this bike lane situation match or lead into that bike lane? Is there any connection there? It's literally 1 street over. And if there's not, why is there not? And then where do these bike lanes go? So do they just end at crossways? Is there an interest in moving them somewhere? Like, where does somebody go with these bike lanes? It just seems random. And then lastly, Hillsdale Drive does not have any sidewalks, which means you have a giant hill, traffic running very quickly. The road itself is not well paved, frankly, and could use a good paving. And then you've got a stop sign at the end of the street, which it looks like you're going to make better, but there's still no sidewalks. So where's a pedestrian supposed to go on Hillsdale? I think those are the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll, I think I remember all your questions because I am taking notes. So the first question about drainage. We're proposing all these curb extension as it is without impacting any of the drainage area right there. So if you can kind of like, I believe there's currently an existing inlet here which allow water to drain through from the road and on into this grass area for stormwater management purposes. So our proposed improvement is basically avoiding those drainage inlet so that it will allow water to flow through directly into those area. So that shouldn't have any impact onto the existing drainage pattern at all on this road. And
Angela, if I may add to that point also, you only concern with drainage changes if we add impervious, meaning if we, let's say, go to the Greenland, you see green and add the sidewalk or add the asphalt, absolutely. But right now, what you can see, we taken from the asphalt, which already asphalt, we just bump it out. So the C value or like the precipitation is the same. It's not gonna change. And as Angela mentioned, we did not block any inlet from collecting water. So it shouldn't affect the scenario. But yes, there's an existing problem. That's something we just heard, but it's whatever we're doing, it's not worsening the situation.
Okay. Thank you, Marissa. And then your second question is about encouraging people, and in particular high school students in the area, to use sidewalks. So I think part of the issue with Upton Drive as it is right now is because it's such a huge cross section where there's a lot of pavement, even though when their car parked on one side and then another car drive by. So by implementing these traffic calming measures, it will make the road feel narrower. And in that case, that well, hopefully it will encouraging students to use the sidewalk instead of just the road. And the other thing that MCDOT has been working on is through our Safe Route to School program, where we do outreach events at various public schools in the county to encourage students to use crosswalk and use sidewalk and any sort of pedestrian facility when they're walking to and from school. So in conjunction with that effort, we hope that not only we will use these traffic calming measures to slow vehicles down on Upton Drive, but also kind of pointing the students in the direction where they should use the sidewalk instead of the road. So that's your second question. And the third question is about bike facility in the area along Beersfield Row and Randolph, just a block, as you mentioned, just a block away. And I believe Upton Drive currently is designated as a neighborhood greenway, meaning that vehicles and bikes and pedestrians should be comfortable in sharing the road here. And in particular, obviously we have sidewalk for the pedestrian, but due to the low volume on this road, really cyclists should feel comfortable using this road to whether they're trying to get to the school or going to McDonald's or accessing other part of the county bicycle networks and facilities. So yes, in the overall county bicycle master plan, this is part of the network and will be connected to the bigger network in Wheaton and also the Beersfield Row and Randolph Row bike facility network. And we're just building it piece by piece, and hopefully this piece not only provide a cyclist connection, but also using it, providing traffic calming for the neighborhood itself as well. And then your last question is about sidewalk on Hillsdale. Our project mainly look at traffic calming on Upton Drive. That was the main goal on this, but we can certainly look into the possibility of adding sidewalk on Hillsdale. And as you have mentioned, Hillsdale is a challenging road because of the topography with the hill, but we can definitely look at it and see if this is something that we can incorporate into this project. So thank you for your comment on that one. All righty.
Angel, there's a question from Sean. How
Okay.
will this affect the trees and wildlife?
Yes, so we are proposing all these improvements within the existing pavement from curb to curb. And so this will not impact any trees. If anything, we're adding more green space. And so, yeah, this will not have any impacts to trees. And in terms of wildlife, again, we're largely changing just some of the features on the road itself, and it should not have major impact to the wildlife. So thank you for your question. All right. Now let's see. Does anyone else have any questions or comments that they would like to make at this point? You can raise your hand, or you can use the Q&A function or even the chat function on Zoom, and we'll get to it. And I'll change the slide back to our, just want to highlight the slide again. You can submit your comments online through this URL, tinyurl.com/upton-comments. And you can also access it through our project website. And again, this presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the project website along with the presentation slides and all the displays that was shown here tonight. Okay, we have Eleanor Duckett. Raise your hand again. Let's see, let me unmute you.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. When you put up the area, the concept design area around Hillsdale and Upton Drive, I asked about the lower part. Will they lose parking? And you said no, they won't. But on the upper part, you know, Jessica Lebinsky lives right there. They currently have residential parking, I believe, on both sides of the road. Is one side going to lose parking with that island that you're putting in?
We don't, it's only on one side of the road.
It's only on one side of the road.
It's on the other side than you, Jessica?
Yeah, it's on the opposite side of me, Eleanor.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? So we'll be here for a little bit. So that's the end of the presentation, but feel free to stick around if you have other questions or if you have other engagement that you have to attend to, feel free to drop off, but that is the end of my presentation. Again, if you have other questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'll unmute you and we can try to answer them. Again, we have we'll be sticking around for just a couple minutes more. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And if you would like to email those instead, that would be fine, or submit them online. I think we have another question just popped up. Okay, what is the best way to hear about it if there's an additional meeting on this subject? So, so we will again, using the similar format as tonight, where we send out a notification via postcard. But we also have regular updates on our project website. So feel free to check out the project website, and we'll notify you on any future meetings via postcard, and also email as well. So just looked out and heard about this one from meeting with planning last night. Oh, okay. Sean, do you live in this area? Did you receive a postcard about this meeting? Oh, Sean. Ooh.
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Cora?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're off mute. Sorry. No. I live just up the hill in College View, like maybe 4 doors down from those steps. So I think we're outside of the range of the folks you were reaching out to with the postcard. But
gotcha.
Definitely would have caught on to this sooner if there was signage posted or something like it. But it's almost impossible to do anything from College View without cutting through Upton and East and Kensington. So all of these are great changes for us, and I and several of my neighbors up here are excited to see this and appreciate the effort taken to get to this point.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll since you're already on the list, so I can definitely like send out an email to all the attendees tonight to inform you for future meeting as well.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and I have Jessica again. Ooh.
Hi, thanks. Can you say a few words about the impacts of construction on the neighborhood? I do live on Upton.
Yeah.
And I saw the timing that you had listed, but like what other impacts do you expect from construction? And then is there anything that you can say about, I appreciate that your plan here is to cover the space from the top of Upton essentially to the bottom of Upton where Crossways is.
Mhm.
But is there anything that you can say about how Upton, any future plans for connecting Upton to the other side of Einstein? So for example, there's the soccer field right after the Crossways building, and there's no path at all for anybody to walk except through that field, which also means bikes are going through there. And now you're putting a bike lane in to add to that. And then the Crossways current inhabitants actually eliminated a path from the back of the playground to the one paved trail that there was. So there is nowhere for you to walk now without either going on to Crossways property or walking through a wet soccer field or biking, as the case may be.
Yeah. So to your first question in terms of construction, so once we have finalize our design plan, we'll work with a contractor to come up with a sequence in terms of like which side will go first. But based on the size of this project, we are expecting it to last anywhere between just 1 week to 2 weeks, really, weather permitting. And it would be pretty minimal in terms of a disruption. Again, like, the contractor will work only during off-peak hour. So not during the morning rush hour or evening rush hour. And everything should be accessible, including your driveway or any sort of most of the parking spots in the area should be accessible to residents. So it will be minimal impact. Again, once we get closer to that point, we'll definitely share the details in terms of timing and also like who you can contact if you by chance do get stuck in your driveway or from aren't able to get out from Upton. We'll have a construction inspector on site to resolve any of those issues. But again, once we get closer to that point, we can talk a little bit more in detail about that.
And does it wait, before you go on, does it include a paving of the whole street? Like the street is not in great shape. Does this project include a repaving of the whole street?
So it doesn't, but I can check with our highway services and see what is their timing on repaving the street. They have their own repaving schedule. So I'll check with them and see what is the timing for that. I also went out there for a field visit as well, and I did see some of the pavement crumbling already. So I'll bring it up to our highway services people, and we will look into that.
We've had numerous water main breaks in the last few months, and gas line drilling or whatever, opening up the road for gas.
Yeah,
that work, so that the road is in shambles in places.
Yeah. Are they all on Upton?
Yeah, all
Okay.
on Upton.
Yeah, I'll check.
Midvale just got paved.
I'll check with them to make sure to see what are the timing on that, and hopefully we can work together on that. And if not, then we'll see what we can do to repair some of the ones that are crumbling, and hopefully smooth out the ones that can be smoothed out. Okay, and then your other question is about the bike path connection and around the school and the soccer field behind the Crossway School. So this project is funded by the Wheaton BIPA program, which stands for the Bicycle Pedestrian Priority Area. And so the area where this program is funded for is within the immediate Wheaton CBD, the Central Business District area. So Upton Drive is located within this limit. And anywhere beyond that is kind of outside that limit. So we will have to identify another source of funding for anything like that. And also we will have to work with MCPS on providing those path to make sure that it's accessible for students and anyone who would like to use those facilities. So I will try to contact our counterparts and our traffic division, who is in charge of the Safe Route to School program, who might have a little bit more insight in terms of that. So thank you for that comment. All right. Do we have any more other questions or concern or comments? Just anything in this area or about this project? We'll stick around actually until 7:30. So, you know, if you have other things to attend to, feel free to drop out. And again, we encourage you to send me your comments and what you think about this project, and what you think about this, what we have put together for the concept. You can email me, or you can submit your comments online using that URL. Feel free to visit the project website for more about this presentation tonight, and also other displays and concept design that we put together.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angel. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you,
Dan,
everyone.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
And Cameron. Bye-bye.